Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. The psychological result of perception in learning and reasoning. A feature of the mental life of a living organism. The arrangement of the body and its limbs. He assumed an attitude of surrender. A complex mental state involving beliefs and feelings and values and dispositions to act in certain ways. He had the attitude that work was fun. A theatrical pose created for effect. The actor struck just the right attitude. Position of aircraft or spacecraft relative to a frame of reference, the horizon or direction of motion. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions, the seat of the faculty of reason. Mental ability. He's got plenty of brains but no common sense. Someone who has exceptional intellectual ability and originality. That part of the central nervous system that includes all the higher nervous centers, enclosed within the skull, continuous with the spinal cord. Hit on the head. Kill by smashing someone's skull. The brain of certain animals used as meat. The sum or range of what has been perceived, discovered, or learned. Something immaterial, as a circumstance or influence, that contributes to producing a result. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The cognitive operation of remembering. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The state of being contented with your situation in life. He relaxed in sleepy contentedness. The amount that can be contained. What a communication that is about something is about. Satisfied or showing satisfaction with things as they are. A contented smile. The sum or range of what has been perceived, discovered, or learned. Something, a person or object or scene, selected by an artist or photographer for graphic representation. Usually plural. Everything that is included in a collection and that is held or included in something. He emptied the contents of his pockets. Make content. I am contented. Satisfy in a limited way. He contented himself with 1 glass of beer per day. The proportion of a substance that is contained in a mixture or alloy, etc. The body of ideas that determine the knowledge that is intellectually certain at any particular time. The atomic weight of an element that has the same combining capacity as a given weight of another element. The standard is 8 for oxygen. Being essentially equal to something. A wish that was equivalent to a command. A person or thing equal to another in value or measure or force or effect or significance, etc. Send $2 or the equivalent in stamps. Knowledge that is available to anyone. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body or the front part of the body in animals contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that jets out into the sea. Grammar, the word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical. A toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. A record or narrative description of past events. A history of France. All that is remembered of the past is preserved in writing, a body of knowledge. The dawn of recorded history. The aggregate of past events. A critical time in the school's history. The continuum of events occurring in succession leading from the past to the present and even into the future. All of human history. The discipline that records and interprets past events involving human beings. He teaches medieval history. Lacking the power to perform. Lack of ability, especially mental ability, to do something. A message received and understood. Communication theory. A numerical measure of the uncertainty of an outcome. The signal contained thousands of bits of information. A collection of facts from which conclusions may be drawn. Formal accusation of a crime. Knowledge acquired through study or experience or instruction. A reference book containing an alphabetical list of words with information about them. A language user's knowledge of words. All of the words in a language. All word forms having meaning or grammatical function. A complex mental state involving beliefs and feelings and values and dispositions to act in certain ways. A language user's knowledge of words. The sum or range of what has been perceived, discovered, or learned. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. Pay close attention to. Give heed to. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. His mind wandered. Knowledge and intellectual ability. He reads to improve his mind. Keep in mind. An important intellectual. The great minds of the 17th century. Be in charge of or deal with. Your intention. What you intend to do. He had in mind to see his old teacher. An opinion formed by judging something. She changed her mind. Be on one's guard. Be cautious or wary about. Be alert to. Attention. Don't pay him any mind. Be concerned with or about something or somebody. Be offended or bothered by. Take offense with, be bothered by. I don't mind your behavior. Recall or remembrance. It came to mind. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions. The seat of the faculty of reason. Common sense. She has great social nous. Activity by a military or naval force, as a maneuver or campaign. It was a joint operation of the Navy and Air Force. A process or series of acts especially of a practical or mechanical nature involved in a particular form of work. The operations in building a house. Mathematics, calculation by mathematical methods. They were learning the basic operations of arithmetic. A medical procedure involving an incision with instruments, performed to repair damage or arrest disease in a living body. They will schedule the operation as soon as an operating room is available. Process or manner of functioning or operating. The power of its engine determines its operation. Psychology. The performance of some composite cognitive activity. An operation that affects mental contents. The cognitive operation of remembering. A business, especially one run on a large scale. A large-scale farming operation. A planned activity involving many people performing various actions. They organized a rescue operation. Computer science, data processing in which the result is completely specified by a rule, especially the processing that results from a single instruction. It can perform millions of operations per second. The activity of operating something, a machine or business, etc. Her smooth operation of the vehicle gave us a surprisingly comfortable ride. The state of being in effect or being operative. That rule is no longer in operation. Becoming aware of something via the senses. The representation of what is perceived. Basic component in the formation of a concept. A way of conceiving something. Luther had a new perception of the Bible. Knowledge gained by perceiving. A man admired for the depth of his perception. The process of perceiving. A job in an organization. Assign a location to. A point located with respect to surface features of some region. This is a nice place for a picnic. Assign a rank or rating to. The particular portion of space occupied by something. He put the lamp back in its place. A particular situation. If you were in my place, what would you do? Assigned to a station. A space reserved for sitting, as in a theater or on a train or airplane. He sat in someone else's place. Recognize as being. Establish the identity of someone or something. Where you live at a particular time. Your place or mine. Identify the location or place of. Locate. Take a place in a competition, often followed by an ordinal. Put into a certain place or abstract location. A public square with room for pedestrians. Make an investment. Proper or designated social situation. He overstepped his place. A blank area. Any area set aside for a particular purpose. Who owns this place? Estimate. An item on a list or in a sequence. In the second place. Intend, something, to move towards a certain goal. The post or function properly or customarily occupied or served by another. Took his place. A general vicinity. He comes from a place near Chicago. An abstract mental location. He has a special place in my thoughts. Assigned to, a job or a home. Finish second or better in a horse or dog race. He bet $2 on number 6 to place. Place somebody in a particular situation or location. He was placed on probation. Proper or appropriate position or location. A woman's place is no longer in the kitchen. Sing a note with the correct pitch. The passage that is being read. He lost his place on the page. To arrange for. Place a phone call. Energy made available by the flow of electric charge through a conductor. The power went out around midnight. Of a government or government official, holding an office means being in power. During his first year in power. A state powerful enough to influence events throughout the world. A mathematical notation indicating the number of times a quantity is multiplied by itself. A very wealthy or powerful businessman. Possession of the qualities, especially mental qualities, required to do something or get something done. Danger heightened his powers of discrimination. Possession of controlling influence. The deterrent power of nuclear weapons. One possessing or exercising power or influence or authority. The mysterious presence of an evil power. Physical strength. Physics. The rate of doing work, measured in watts, equals joule per second. Supply the force or power for the functioning of. The gasoline powers the engines. Translating an idea into action. A hard theory to put into practice. A customary way of operation or behavior. It is their practice to give annual raises. Avail oneself to. Practice a religion. Systematic training by multiple repetitions. Practice makes perfect. Learn by repetition. Pianists practice scales. Engage in a rehearsal, of. Engage in or perform. Practice safe sex. Carry out or practice, as of jobs and professions. Practice law. Knowledge of how something is usually done. It is not the local practice to wear shorts to dinner. The exercise of a profession. The practice of the law.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.